Stiles Show, Sactown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. About to open back up the phone lines here as we ask a very, very simple question. The Kings are playing the best basketball in the NBA right now. They just beat the Boston Celtics without De'Aaron Fox in Boston, and Boston literally took out their starters. They are absolutely cooking. They are absolutely rolling. So we ask the question now, do the Kings still have to make a move? Should they make a move? Would you make a move right now? You got to wait for them to lose? I'm not making a move right now. Not until they lose a game. I can't. But Monty McNair, you have to lose a game for me to make a move. You cannot make a move right now with this team on the winning streak. Or can you? That's just my opinion. Because they still need to be better. They still need to improve. They're still a bit thin in certain areas. What would you do if you were Monty McNair right now? I said if they beat the Celtics, I would at the very least discuss making a move, and here we are. Not making a move. How does this thing move forward for the Sacramento Kings? Well, if you do get more of good Trey Lyles and healthy Trey Lyles and Devin Carter continuing to learn the game, the league, Keon Ellis flourishing, you get a little bit more from Kevin Huerter off the bench. The starters are good to go there. That's why the Cam Johnson thing has been so funny, because are you moving Malik Monk back to the bench? If you make that deal, what do you do there? But I'm not really too concerned with the starters. It's really more so about the bench. Can the bench give you enough to survive? Is this, as you would say, sustainable? I think that there is a world where you can convince yourself based on price tags, well, you know what? I really like how the team is playing right now. I don't really want to give up any first-round picks. Everyone keeps talking about how that the Kevin Huerter and that first-rounder, it's burned us not having that pick. So I don't really want to give up another pick. And you know what? I don't really want to give up Devin Carter or Keon Ellis. We're rolling right now. We've won 7 straight. If we can just get a little bit more from some of the guys on the bench, can we rock and roll here? I think in the short term, I think you could get the 5 seed if you're the Kings. I believe that the Kings, and that's what I had them at. I don't think I had them top 4, but I think a lot of us had the Kings missing the play-in, right? 5 or 6 seed. That's where we had them. It's a roundabout way, but that's where we had them. Then the bigger question becomes, is that good enough for De'Aaron Fox? If that's what you're concerned about. Sam Amick was on the morning show last week. He said in his mind, he thinks De'Aaron feels like they got to at least get to the second round. And we're talking about this season, the second round or the conference finals. So as far as, and obviously you don't know, right? You don't know what you're going to do until you get there. But doing all this winning now just to get out of the basement hasn't really done anything. That's essentially what we're hearing as far as De'Aaron. So there is a move to make when it comes to the immediate future of this team. Because again, one playoff appearance in over a decade, right? So just getting to the playoffs, there's almost 2 standards. There's the Kings standard where, hey, we really just want to get in the playoffs and see what happens. Then there is the alleged De'Aaron Fox standard that we're not really completely sure. We've heard reports. We know they want to compete, but what is competing? What is actually happening here? Brendan Nunez is in the Sac Chat right now saying he's with Sam, that the writing is on the wall for Fox leaving if they don't make a playoff run into the second round at least. So is this team good enough to make that run? I don't know. If they play like this, I feel like they are. If they play like this, they just beat the dang Boston Celtics without De'Aaron Fox. But are you willing to take that chance if you're Monty McNair? And if that's what's being reported, Brendan Nunez just said that in our chat, and Sam Amick, he said that on our station. If second round or conference final, something like second round at least, that is the standard that De'Aaron Fox is looking for in order to re-sign. Are you willing to take that chance and not make a move because of what the Kings are doing right now? Now, you have until February. You still have a couple weeks here. But are you willing to take that chance? Because if you are, that means that you are somewhat comfortable with moving on from De'Aaron Fox. Not to say that you want to, but somewhat comfortable. That is ultimately the question. That is the question. There's the immediate future. Do I think this team can get I think this team can get a 5 seed as is right now. The way they're playing, why not? And the way the rest of the West is a mess, why not? Do I think they're going to go to the second round at least? I don't know. That I can't tell you.
It's a better chance than it was a week ago.
It's a better chance than it was a week ago, but it's still a chance. So you have you get that, Kyle, if you do creep on up, right? And if we're really just looking at the future here, if you do creep on up, and let's just leave as is, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. You do creep on up. You're a 5 seed taking on the Denver Nuggets, and they would have home court if you're the 5 seed. So you think, look, they almost beat the Nuggets. I believe somebody wasn't playing in that game, but they almost beat the Nuggets.
To get to the 5 seed, they would have to finish as a 48-win team.
Which still sounds like a lot. It doesn't sound as much as it did last week, but it still feels like a lot of wins.
The only hard part is okay, so the top 4 in the West are head above everyone else, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The problem is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that are all trying to get 5 through 12 that are all within 2.5 games of each other. So this is the tough part is you're going to need a lot of things to break your way in order to separate yourself 2.5 games from 7 different teams. Because if it's 7 teams you're fighting with, you can't bank on, well, everyone's going to have a tough second half to the season. It's you have to win some games in order to separate yourself from the pack, which is good because they're doing it right now. But to your point, I'd rather be the 6th seed and play the Grizzlies.
I was literally going to say, if you look at this with some of these teams, how they're messing around, like the Rockets and the Grizzlies, honestly, all you have to do is avoid the Thunder or the Nuggets. You really don't want the 5 seed.
Okay, so do you remember during the Beam Team season where
I know where this is going,
where all the national media were saying the Kings are the team you want to hunt in the playoffs?
And they did it again last season with OKC. They said you would want the AT to get OKC, and then OKC won that.
So I think you know where this is going for me. You're hunting the Rockets.
Yes.
That's the team you want if you make it to the playoffs. If you're any of these teams, by the way, if you're the Timberwolves, you want the Rockets. If you're the Clippers, you want the Rockets.
Yes.
The Clippers are a weird team. I'll say the Lakers, you want the Rockets. The Mavericks, you want to hunt the Rockets. That's the team you want to take on because not only are they overachieving and have never been to the playoffs before with this group, they also don't have a star.
Right.
And when going gets tough in the playoffs, we saw this with Fox going crazy against the Warriors. When the going gets tough, sometimes you got to just have a guy you give the ball to and say, get us a bucket. And the Houston Rockets do not have that.
They don't have that guy. And look, that's what's interesting about how this stuff changes. Okay. Let's think about the names that we've heard connected to the Cam Johnsons of the world. All right. And then let's bring it back to the idea of the Kings not making a move because they're on a 7-game winning streak. Well, let's start right at the top. The Thunder have been connected with Cam Johnson. The Thunder, they're 32-6. The Rockets have been connected with a lot of different pieces. The Rockets might be waiting for this season. I don't really know based on the Rockets' timeline. They want to see what happens with Jalen Green.
Yeah, the Rockets have said they are going to wait to the offseason to make a trade. They might be small buyers, but they're not making a trade.
So you have the Thunder, who they've been connected with Cam Johnson. They're the 1 seed. The Grizzlies have been connected with a couple different players as well. They're the 3 seed. The Nuggets have been connected. They thought maybe Michael Porter Jr. was going to be on the way out. They're the 4 seed. The Mavericks, the Lakers, all these teams are connected. So as much as I'm happy that the Kings are rolling, and I kind of don't want to make a move until they lose a game, not that I'm wanting them to lose a game, all these teams that are also interested in players are in better situations than the Kings. So there's no way, even beating the Celtics and even with the vibes as good as they are, I don't think there's any way Monty McNair can use this as a reason to not make a move when teams in front of you by a lot are even looking to get better. If they're looking to get better, then you should be looking to get better. Because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. If the Thunder if they're looking to make a move, then who are the Sacramento Kings to not look to make a move because they are on a 7-game win streak?
Yeah, I guess that's true. The one thing I would say is that not every trade makes your team better. So just because the Lakers are on the prowl for another trade, although they might be done after the Finney Smith trade, but just because you make a trade doesn't mean that the Lakers get better. And the flip side is you could make the argument, Monty has made crazier arguments, I would assume, that it doesn't matter what other teams do because we will still be better than them even if they make a trade, which has been true over the last 2 weeks. And if you had said at the time Mike Brown got fired that was the only thing that it was going to take to have the Kings realize their full potential, it would have been a crazy argument at the time. How many people, including ourselves, came on different airwaves and podcasts and places and said this was a terrible move and a complete oversight? And I mean, look at it now. It was kind of the right move. So maybe you could make the argument, it doesn't matter what other teams do, we will still be doing our thing.
That's fine. But again, you missed the playoffs, so you're fighting in that play-in, and other teams, at least you have to at least try to get better. That's the whole thing with the Beam Team season, or after the Beam Team season. You can give Monty the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, they just went to the playoffs, didn't want to mess up the mojo. But the other thing is other teams are at least trying. And you could also say, what if he made a move and it didn't work out? Well, he didn't make a move and it didn't work out. Your coach is now gone. Okay. And De'Aaron Fox is essentially saying, if we don't have a deep run, I might be out of here. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Mitch, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mitch? What you got for us?
How's it going, Alan? I'd love to see him forward, power forward. Superstar. That's asking too much. But someone that can just get in there, help with Lyles. And I'm liking this kid. I want to see more of him. Devin Carter, a little bit of Tim Hardaway. Maybe I'm wishful thinking, but I'm liking it. We're playing a little bit like the old Run DMC, Golden State, but they never had a big man like we do. The bonuses are tremendous.
Yeah.
Can I ask you why? When I look at the standings, looking at divisions, other sports you get rewarded for winning your division. I want to see that. I'm tired of seeing these 1 through 6 and then 7 to 10 in shade, but it's going to be the playing game. You can still have it, but can you award if we win the division? Our division's pretty good, but we're knocking each other down, so we're not going to have a lot of wins there. If we win the division, it's attainable. How come they're not? How come they've gone to this this Sweet 16?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mitch. Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of times you forget about the divisions because they don't really do anything.
Yeah, I'll tell you the reason why that they changed it, because I think a decade ago the Spurs won like 56 games and should have been the 3 seed, but because they didn't win their division, they were like the 6 seed. So yeah, divisions are dumb and pointless in the NBA because they don't play each other enough for it to actually be a representation of who the best teams are. Like in the NFL, the division things make sense because 40% of your games every year are against teams in your division. Basketball, they just don't play enough for it to be any representative sample size.
You do get a banner, though. So everybody likes a division banner. Doug, we see you. We'll get to you on the other side. More Kings talk. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.